All right, so today I'm going to tell you a story of. I have made myself a little cup of coffee here. Today is the story of all the challenges that we had when the whole world shut down. It's a story that I've been saying that I wanted to do for a while, and it's just right to do it this month now, March. For those that don't know, Philadelphia, the first time it shut down when everything happened, when the world was shutting down. It shut down in 2020 of March, or March of 2020, and that's when everything kind of started. It actually started, let's just say, a little bit before that, because once everybody kind of knew that was going to happen, there was word for, I guess, a couple of weeks. Almost some people knew about this maybe 2 months before March, some people knew for a while, and business started slowing down. And to be honest, I was naive. I did not know. I heard a little bit about it, very little bit, until you start hearing that over there in China the stuff started shutting down, and that's when you're like, yeah, it's gonna be a problem. It's like you already know it's gonna get over here. You already know it's gonna get over here. So eventually it did, and this is where this story kind of. I'm gonna start off March. First shutdown over here. By that time we were already slowing down tremendously. Everybody was slowing down. Us, first shutdown, the first thing we did was basically sign up for every single takeout, right? Like every single restaurant, we did takeout. One story was that you really did not know how long you're going to be shut down. The city made it feel like it was only going to be like a couple weeks. So, and I think that's what everybody felt like. Oh, we shut down for a couple weeks. Maybe a month, maybe 2 months, because took a couple weeks turned to a month to 2 months, but and eventually you kind of know it's like this is gonna be a long time. You already know, after the first seconds you're like, yeah, this is not gonna be what they're saying. I don't think they know what they're saying. So we reinvented ourselves to a takeout restaurant. We started doing family meals. Family meals was meals so people can pick up for the whole family, at least 4 people. Very affordable, but it was like pre-ordered only. And the reason was the pre-order, so I won't have so much waste, and I could keep offering at a good price. Because the idea was to be able to sell a good amount of them, and it worked to an extent, because it could have been we could have just gotten dark, but we were getting some business, definitely not even a quarter of what we were getting before, but it was something, right? Basically the hemorrhaging was there, but this was like making a little bit slower, right? So yeah, that kind of went on. We reinvented ourselves doing that. You couldn't, there was no indoor dining whatsoever. I mean, for those that do remember, they tried the outdoor dining. Of course, the first thing was the outdoor dining. Once people started figuring out that, hey, they're not going to open up the restaurants for a while. They're not going to open up any places really for a while. This is not going to be 2 weeks, a month, or 2 months. This is like nobody knows how long. They started to try to talk to people to do the outdoor seating. It was great for a lot of places. A lot of places doubled their space because there was people that really didn't mind eating out in the cold. They didn't mind. In the summertime was really, some places thrived. Some places did the opposite. They might have not been so busy before, but when they started doing the outdoor seating, they were busier because they had even more room. The restaurants got even bigger. That's my second challenge. I was not allowed to do outdoor seating. Don't get me wrong, we tried, but without getting into it so deep, something to do with something with the neighborhood. We were not allowed to do outdoor seating, even though every single other restaurant in the city was doing outdoor seating, and that was the only way to survive. We did end up getting like a green light somewhat, and then we ended up getting some pushback. And we would only do like tables out here, as you can see right here, 2 tables here, and we would put one on this side of the restaurant. You can't see it from there, but so it'll be like 2, maybe 3 tables. That's it. And that was to try to accommodate, try to get some business. I mean, at that time we were a very new restaurant because we had only been open for a couple months. By that time, we might have been hitting now a year. But that first year, we were not even really open the whole year. So we were like, yeah, it was not a good start to opening up a restaurant. Let me not say, yeah, it was challenging from the beginning. But this whole thing happened when we were getting our stride. I remember having a conversation with the other owner, basically saying that I think we're getting there. I think we're getting really steady. The weekends were busy. We were like not even busy. We were getting booked. The weekends were getting booked consistently, and it was just like it's just not bad. During the week was inconsistent. So we were at a point that we were working on trying to get some special stuff, promotions and stuff like that to get people during the week, right? Because during the week it would be like the weekend would be jam-packed. We would have to turn people, but during the week, you don't know. The traffic, it's always been a tough traffic during the week here. Just always been. And that's a whole different story. Whatever. So that happened when we were finally getting there. So we couldn't do the outdoor seating. A couple times we did. We ended up getting some pushback. Even after we got the okay, some people got some pushback. Again, you would assume that two tables out there, who is it really inconveniencing? Like, who is it really, who's the inconvenience that, like somebody, oh my God, they have 2 tables out there. Oh no, it was like nothing. This is not like a bar. We serve no alcohol, but some people, they use their power move and they would talk to other people. It was just, and the funny thing was that most people did not know that we were having this issue, so they would just think that we were like, we're just being sheep or whatever. It was just, I don't know. People just like, because we would be asked all the time about the outdoor seating, and it was just, we didn't want to explain the whole thing to everybody that asked, so we just say that we don't have outdoor seating. It's just, it was what it was. So the other challenge was to try to because the indoor seating, when it first happened, there was 2 challenges, right? It was limited seating, but it really didn't matter because most people, especially in this area, and nothing against the area, very nice area, but most of the people are just very in tune, I guess, with the news, and they did not want to eat, or they would not go inside of the restaurant, only outdoor. They would not touch indoor at all. They would call us and be like, no, and they would just tell us, they don't feel safe. They don't feel safe, and it's, you know what? It was, I wasn't mad at them. I was definitely upset at the situation, but I can't be mad at them because that's the way they felt. Why, I was not mad at anybody per se, right? But the situation was definitely not helping, and that was kind of back and forth. We would open up, it would be whatever, 10%. For a small restaurant like me, 10% of indoor dining with no outdoor dining, it's like nothing. It's like nothing. So that went on for a while. That went on for a long time, whatever, almost 2 years, back and forth. I remember we went through the year, and then next year you're like, oh, this year we're gonna open up, and then we opened up for I think a month, and then they shut us down again. So it was back and forth. We continually reinvented ourselves, different identities, we changed the menu, different style. I wouldn't say different style of food, but somewhat we made it a little bit more simplistic in a sense. Let's just say that we made the menu more simplistic, made it a little bit smaller because again it was just very, very difficult to kind of run the restaurant in a normal fashion when people, don't get me wrong, some restaurants that were just, nothing against them, because I'm not going to say the restaurants, but some like bars and stuff like that if you look at their ratings, they would be like a 2 point something. Like the food was not good, but they had offered so much outdoor seating, the outdoor seatings would be packed. So they were actually doing better doing the shutdowns and everything was going on than when there was none. So, that's just throwing you out there just because they offered a big outdoor section for outdoor seating. Meanwhile, we went through, it was basically the last couple years, but that's kind of back and forth. Besides the challenges of reinventing ourselves, the other thing is that many people just left. A lot of, I can't even understand this. There's not even a handful, it's a good amount of people that were some of our regulars that they still follow us on Instagram. They just disappeared. Some of them are like, they went down south. So I know one of our big, regulars that would come every single week, guaranteed, sometimes twice a week. He just, he still follows us. He ended up moving, I think, to like, I don't want to say South Carolina. Nobody's gonna know who I'm talking about. But they moved there. People just moved all over. They left the city. Like, people really did leave the city. Not everybody, of course, but yeah, I guess if you were able to, they did, right? So we ended up losing a lot of people, and hopefully that's the only reason we lost some people. I don't want to think of the other way that we might have lost some of our regulars, but a lot of people moved. And again, it was the whole thing of rebuilding, reopening. Then we went through the challenges of getting, staff. That was another challenge. At that point, I've been working kind of by myself for such a long time, and it was like I got used to kind of working by myself, and it was just one of those things that all the challenges, right? You kind of you try to solve all these issues. So being in the restaurant business, you always are solving issues, like in many businesses, because this is not like this business is not only like manual labor, it's also you gotta use your noggin a little bit, right? You gotta use common sense in here. You don't have to be a rocket science, but it's stressful business for those that are thinking about getting into this business. But it's also rewarding business. One of the most rewarding things in the restaurant business is turning a restaurant into a successful restaurant. Or running a successful restaurant is one of the most rewarding things. And I'm talking about just in general. And I know the feeling. I've done it. I've been in places. I've been able to turn around places. Some places I've been to that they were just already doing well, and just to able to maintain or, keep that level or even add a little something of me to that, it's a great feeling. In general, when you part of, it's like being a part of a winning team. For those that ever play sports, you should know if you played in a sport and you win the championship and you have you're winners, right? But I've done that when I was younger, and now in my career, a successful restaurant is huge because this is such a challenge to have a successful restaurant. Again, it's only going to be like less than 10% of restaurants that are going to be successful. And of course, it seemed like we were getting to that, and then ever since that whole thing happened, we have not been able to get back on track. And I really don't know anymore what to do. I've tried a lot of stuff. The traffic has not recovered at all the same way that it did. It just didn't. We had to remember that one summer that was supposed to be, we were doing so good. Last year, we were doing so good, and then I literally hired staff because it was like, okay, we're back. This is like after, all this, when we finally getting to back to normal, whatever. We never got back to, but we were getting there, right? There happened to be shootouts over here. Not even shootouts. There was one shootout, but it was around, the timing couldn't be perfect. That was around the same time that apparently there was mass shootouts in the whole country. So there was one shootout over here, and it just got, with all the other shootouts were getting so much publicity that this one just got thrown in there in the mix. This area was dead for a whole summer. Last summer, this neighborhood was dead. Nobody went out. And I mean, I went from having a full restaurant to Shootout. The next week, I did not even know there was a shootout over there. The next week, all the reservations had canceled. I was just in disarray. I had no idea what had happened. I had no idea. Then one of my servers came in and he told me, he's like, maybe it could have been, the shootout that happened over there. And I did not even know nothing about it. I went home, I looked it up on the news, on YouTube, whatever. Man, this got a lot of attention. A lot of attention. Then I started getting the social media for the neighborhood next door, and this was the talk of the town. Nobody was going out. Nobody felt safe anymore. And yeah, the whole summer, dead. And I'm talking about dead. We went from our summers here a little slower, just generally. That was one of the last challenges that we had. Right now, we're still recovering from that summer. That summer was brutal. Like the summer that just passed was brutal. It went from 100 to freaking 2% overnight from one week to another. You couldn't make it up. And not only that, it lasted the whole summer. So right now, that's around the time we were thinking of not being able to stay in business because we just lost the whole. It's not like we were making money for all these months, the last 2 years that we've been shut down. We finally seemed like we were gonna get back into it. That happened and it was like done. So we've had a lot of challenges. That was the last one. Right now we're just trying to, again, don't get me wrong, right now it's just in general, just business just slows down. People are listening to the news, and the new big thing is the economy. People have been afraid. People are not spending. So the next challenge is people are not spending as much when they go out, which is not a big deal, but also people that are even able to go out and not spend as much, then people are just like cutting costs. Like I know I gotta cut costs here and there, like, in some of those apps and stuff that I gotta pay. I can't use them unless if they benefit me. They gotta be a really good investment, right? So people also don't go out as much. So not only is there not enough traffic, you'll get 1 week that it seems like everybody gone out, and then 1 week, it's just like, not so many people going out. So yes, I guess most people kind of understand. Most people are in the boat. They're seeing what's going on. I'm just telling you, this is my story, and to keep it short, off the top of my head, I can really get really intricate. If there's somebody that, you guys have any specific questions of certain things that I might have done during the last, you can leave it down below. I'll respond to it. But this video has gone long enough. So for the few that, listen to the video, again, you got some questions, leave them below. If you made it this far, you might want to subscribe. I appreciate it. Be safe later, man.